All right, we are live. So I am with Axel out of Nashville, Huntsville, Alabama. We've met not recently, we've
Yeah.
met and we were able to chat. And I know Matt, your husband, is doing a lot of stuff with military, and he introduced us to connect on, because why we're here today is really getting an idea for moving from Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama, because the HQ for Space Force is moving down to your neck of the woods. So
Yep.
thank you for hopping on. I know we were like a few days ago, like, all right, let's just hop on and chat and talk about it. So that today we are going to talk about, what's like to moving to Huntsville, what you need to do and prepare for. It's going to be short and sweet. It's not going to be a long conversation, but just to give you guys some information, our contact information, if you do have, questions and things like that. So I would love to just do a quick introduction, if you'd like, Axel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my name is Axel Reed. I am a military spouse. My husband served for 13 years, was enlisted, then went to West Point, commissioned out of West Point. And then we met when he was at Fort Campbell. So I've been in real estate for 8 years, and then he got into real estate a couple of years ago. But when he was still in the Army, I was helping a lot of our friends either PCS to Fort Campbell or to Redstone or to leave. And then he kind of started helping me out with that once he got licensed. So we've helped a lot of military families. We've done countless VA loans and dealt with kind of every VA situation someone could imagine and potentially some people wouldn't even know about. But I've been in real estate for 8 years, was licensed in California, where I'm originally from, then moved out to Nashville, and then saw a need when I was living in Nashville for just help in the Huntsville market. Especially with just military in general. A lot of people don't understand a lot of the nuances with a PCS. And also there's just a lot of stress, especially for the families. And so we try to take a lot of that away and do as much as we can on the front end. So that way, when people get here, they can just get settled and kind of jump into the routine. And they're not like, gosh, I need this person or this, or now we got to figure this out. So we try to really cover as many bases as possible, whether that's, figuring out childcare, doggy daycare, getting everyone settled and feeling comfortable with their move, and also just kind of figuring out like what's your everyday routine and making sure we have, those places here for you.
Yeah, I think that's huge and really shows to how you guys are paying attention to your clients and making sure they're really well taken care of. It's not only about the transaction; it's about everything around the transaction that matters most: the family, the times, the schedules, like, hey, we're coming in for showings. We got 24 hours here. Like, you're like, all right, we understand. Let's grab our, our waters and snacks, and let's go and see, sometimes it's 20 houses in a day or two. Right.
Oh yeah. Or people think like the era of FaceTime showings ended with COVID, but people forget, like with military, we've had some clients that will be in Korea, and we're either talking to them at midnight our time. So it's like in the morning for them. And we're taking extensive videos showing, even like dings on baseboards, just so they really understand like what they're, the home they're going to be purchasing or writing an offer on. But, I feel like our business specifically, or how I handle a lot of our military clients, came from my experience. I didn't actually have to PCS, which I was really grateful for, but I was just watching it with FRG and in the Facebook groups and hearing and seeing and talking to a lot of the spouses about complaints and just areas that are missed by our own military and, with the PCS process. And so we really tried to take all those areas that caused stress and that we're just missing help in, and kind of, put ourselves there to really just kind of make it complete and, just be a one-stop resource. There's no reason that these, military families go through a lot, and there's no reason that they need to try to contact 20 different people for things. Like, we really try to be a one-stop shop and just make this a nice, easy transition, whether it's for just a 2-year period or, maybe it's going to be their forever spot they land.
Yeah. And I know we've talked to Matt about this as well. and really analyzing or sitting down and discussing, hey, what are your ultimate goals? Because I'm not going to talk you into buying a house if you're going to leave here in 2, 2, 3, even 3 years. Sometimes it doesn't make sense depending on the market. So really giving you the education, the tools, the resources to make an educated decision at the end of the day. And I think that goes a long way for the clients and my I treat my clients exactly the same way. And I think Matt and I talked on the phone for like 30 minutes, and we were like, all right, we can be on the phone all day, obviously. So we align very well on how we doing the right things for the right reasons. It's like my tagline. I feel myself with that on repeat. But there's a lot of agents that don't. They'll talk a real good talk on the initial conversation, but when it comes to action and providing you value, it starts to fall off right over
Yeah.
time. So
Well, and especially I feel like in the last couple years, obviously we've had not as much appreciation as we did during COVID, which was kind of an inflated appreciation. And so
yes,
it's been tough because we've had a lot of conversations the last year with sellers that, bought and they didn't use us to buy. They used a different agent, and they knew they were only going to be at their, maybe for a year and a half, 2 years, and they knew they were then going to PCS again. And then they're coming to us because they heard good things, and we're having to have the sit down of, maybe you're upside down after everything's
a
paid
hard
out
talk.
or close to break even. And so we try to strategize. So we've helped, and we thankfully have been able to help a few sellers out of some tough situations, whether it's we do a VA assumption, and one seller literally was going to have to bring 30,000 to the closing table if we sold to just a traditional buyer. And we actually had a buyer who was PCSing to the base, and we were able to do an assumption, and he only had to bring like 3,000 to the table. So I mean, not an
Big
ideal
difference.
situation, but I mean, we were able to really help. And then we just had another one where I'm like, hey, we've appreciated some. We need a little bit more to get us where we need to be. And so we were able to find a renter for him to basically break even for the next year and a half. And then we'll turn around and sell it then, and at least get him to a spot where he's not underwater on the house. So
Yeah,
that's the stuff that we hate to see, especially because, we would never want to put one of our clients in that situation. And so then we're trying to
exactly.
kind of help get people out of it. But yeah, we're definitely not ones that will just push people to buy. Like we're in the business to make lifelong friends and clients, not just a
Exactly.
one-time purchase. Like I just had a client literally call me. I sold their house when they were PCSing from Clarksville to Houston, and they've already moved again since then. And they were calling me yesterday, and they're like, hey, we're buying another house here in Houston, got this inspection report, our agent here is saying this, we just want to get your opinion because we were so thankful for you back then. And like
Oh,
that's what
that's amazing.
I appreciate that, because
That's
I
the biggest compliment you can get as an
oh
agent is when
yeah
clients come back and ask you questions or give you that 5-star review or, send you a referral or something like that. That is the biggest, absolutely biggest compliment.
yeah. And so
Um,
it's like I want to hear from people. Like
yeah.
I tell people all the time, the nightmares I have are that, like, if a client hated their home, or like a
Uh,
month in and they're like, why do we do this? And like, over 100 deals later in the last 4 years, I've never had that happen, but that's like my ultimate fear. So I want to make sure someone is like, this is the house for them. They are going to be
yeah.
happy here for however long they will be there.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about so that we have an interesting situation here. Well, Trump just recently announced that they're moving Space Force headquarters from Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama. We don't know the current timeline of implementation. We don't know, he says, or his staff is saying quickly, right? We know with the Trump administration, things do move pretty quick when he wants something to move quick. So whether or not that's 2 months or a year, like it depends. I foresee that some of the medium to high level management in terms of officers are going to probably get repositioned over the next quarter to be able to be in place to start standing up what they're looking at doing in the HQ realm.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to see a slow start of officers and senior enlisted start to trickle away and have getting orders to PCS. And then I'm sure there's going to be a larger migration. I'm guessing next summer between fall or spring and summer is when like a lot of the people are probably going to start to move. So that's why we wanted to hop on and make sure people had a resource for going there. So let's talk about, I know everyone from my, I'd say my area, my neck of the woods, Colorado Springs, they're going to be interested in knowing and understanding. All right, I have no idea where's Huntsville on the map, right? It's in Alabama. We know that, right? Where, what is it close to? Well, where are the stores? What are the, when I looked for a home, it was like, okay, where's the closest Costco? That's my main bread and butter right there. So little things like that. So I know you provided or went and got some information in terms of like all the useful stuff, but talk to me about what you consider most important, I guess, from that standpoint.
Yeah. And it's something that, I bought my house in Huntsville a couple of years ago, and I go between Nashville and Huntsville basically every week. And when I was looking, it was kind of similar to like what, I feel like anyone moving there is like, okay, where do I like to shop? Where do I like to go to work out and things like that? And so I always like to tell people, I think when people hear Alabama, they think like, oh, it's like the South, like cow pastures and there's nothing to be there. And that's what I thought when I first went there. And then I was like, wow, this place is cool. But
There's
I mean,
things here.
yeah, Huntsville's got basically everything now. I mean, the last 7 years, Huntsville's boomed. So, I mean, we have all of your major grocery stores. We've got Whole Foods, Publix, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, like all the big ones. For shopping, like everyday shopping, we have Costco, we have Walmart, we have Target, like all of your big box names we have here, which is great. And they're all within a super quick drive of Huntsville. Like my house is in an area called Low Mill, which is kind of like an artsy district.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get to Costco, Whole Foods, Orange Theory for workouts within like 5 to 10 minutes, which is really what I love. And then I can actually walk to some coffee shops and some breweries from my house. So that was another kind of cool thing for me.
Yeah.
And then I know, with military, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but fitness is typically a big part of it. So, we have Orange Theory.
Pretty active town from what I know.
Yeah. And then a new fitness place that's been really popular, especially with like some of the younger military guys, especially like everyone I've sold recently has been like mid-20s, and they're all like I have to be within 20 minutes of phase 3 fitness. So that's like the new hot spot. It's like the really, really nice gym. I kind of call it like, it's almost like a mini Equinox.
Oh yeah. So then poor man's Equinox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all like they all work out there together. So like we have to be like 20 minutes or less to phase 3 fitness.
Yeah, no, for sure. So do you know where the like actual HQ is going to be in Huntsville? Is this going to be like downtown, or is it going to be offset? That's something I'm not sure about.
Most likely, it's probably going to be right around Redstone, and that's where most of the headquarters for like all the other companies are kind of all around Redstone, just to make it easy for everybody. And Redstone's basically smack in the middle between Huntsville and Madison. And Madison and Huntsville are kind of the two big spots that people will tend to go to. Madison's going to be your higher rated public schools. You're going to have tons of shopping. It's a little bit more suburban, lots of like HOA neighborhoods, nice homes. Huntsville's going to be
this area, right?
Yes.
Madison. Yeah.
And then Huntsville on the other side, that's going to be like more your urban sprawl type living. You've got a mix of historic streets, brand new construction amongst older neighborhoods. You get, kind of a mix of everything. And then you have, your downtown vibe. So downtown Huntsville kind of looks like your kind of like storybook, like Christmas town in a way.
Oh, nice.
So it's super like downtown Huntsville is not like, you're not going like a Chicago. I mean, you can walk all of downtown Huntsville pretty easily, which is really great. And they've been pouring tons of money into new infrastructure, into new hotels, restaurants. They just opened 2 years ago the new outdoor amphitheater, which we actually have a lot of people from Nashville drive down to Huntsville because it's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive for concerts because it's cheaper and they like the theater down there better.
So if you're looking at Nashville, because I know you guys work in Nashville as well, where are we at?
So we're
Obviously,
going
I'm
to
not
be,
from here.
it's going
I'm
to be
trying to
north.
show that you drive on this one.
Yeah, so just a little bit more up. So Huntsville is like on the
Oh, there we go. Okay.
part of, yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not bad. It's
So you're
about,
still close to Atlanta somewhat. That's like 2 hours, right?
yep. And then you've got Chattanooga to the east,
Chattanooga.
which,
Yep.
I mean, you can get to Chattanooga in probably hour and a half. And Chattanooga's got, I mean, Huntsville's got a lot to do outdoors. Chattanooga's on steroids. Like that's where a lot of people from Nashville will go to if they want to go to like cool waterfalls, camping, like things like that. Cause it's not bad, but you
Yeah.
also have stuff local if you just want to go for like the day and not stay overnight or anything.
Nice. And then Nashville, you're looking at Nashville to Huntsville. That's about what, hour
Yeah,
and a half,
like
2 hours?
city center to city center is about 2 hours. So it's not bad. Like from me to go from my house outside of Nashville to my house in Huntsville is like hour 25 because I live south of the city.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's easy. And then Huntsville does have its own airport. It is smaller, so sometimes people will either go into Nashville or Atlanta if they have like a further flight or if they're doing like an international flight.
Gotcha. Because that will matter. Here you go. Huntsville International Airport right here.
Yep. Which it is growing, but it's still smaller than Atlanta and Nashville.
It's not an ATL or
Yeah.
Nash Vegas.
I don't think anyone wants an ATL.
No, I agree. Nobody wants to travel through Atlanta
Yeah, I mean,
at
if
all.
it's about the same drive, go to the Nashville airport. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a much easier situation.
Agree. Yeah. So one thing that Matt brought up was that, hey, if you're looking at potentially having an investment property, if you're going to buy and then say, hey, we'll just rent it out later, we're okay with tying up our VA eligibility. We were potentially coming back here. There are also some things to think about when it comes to taxes, because he mentioned that you guys learned the hard way on that one of Madison being a little higher taxes for investment properties versus personal residences and things like that.
Yes.
So,
If it's in Madison, so it's kind of funny. So you have Huntsville and Madison. Huntsville is in Madison County. And so Madison County, if your property taxes are based off how you use it. So if you end up doing a investment property later on, you basically get like a 5x on your property taxes. So it increases significantly. And we learned that the hard way. When we bought, we didn't really know about that. And then, the year came around and I called the county. I was like, what is going on? They're like, oh, well, you're making money from it. And I'm like, oh, great. So,
yeah.
If that is something that you're, thinking about, interested in, you definitely want to just look at what county you're in and make sure, you won't get affected by that. Or if you still want to be in there and rent, you just want to make sure you have a nice buffer.
Yeah, the margins are there.
Yeah, and really understand, okay, what would my estimated rent be and what would my all-in be every month to make sure. We were going to profit a little bit every month. Our profit's basically gone, but I mean, we're not in a bad spot still.
You're still earning equity, right? At the end of the day, sometimes people forget the long-term approach too, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's where we come from. And then the other part too, we've had some people, I'd say it's been more popular in the last year, who are, they're going to PCS to Redstone, but they know it's going to be their last duty station. And so they'll actually buy. So Huntsville is in northern Alabama. So it's about 30 minutes from the border between Tennessee and Alabama. And we'll have some people buy right over the border into some of these smaller border towns, or the next kind of big one's Fayetteville, right up there. And that way, Tennessee doesn't have any state income tax. So they do that. That way they're not having to pay state income tax, but they can still get to work in 30 to 45 minutes if they want. So they'll kind of buy on that southern border of Fayetteville. Fayetteville is going to be a more rural setting, which, some people may love, some may not. So that's just kind of one thing to consider when you're doing that. It's not going to have the hustle and bustle of Huntsville, and you'll still probably be going into Huntsville for a lot of like your fun, more like nightlife, entertainment, concerts and things. But it is depending on traffic, if you're, on the west side of Madison, it could be the same distance from Fayetteville to work. So some people,
that's true.
they'll kind of choose to then go over the border and save in taxes for that time being. So
Speaking of commuting, what does commuting look like in Huntsville?
Huntsville is trying to catch up to the growth it's had. Like most
We're
places.
there too. Yeah.
I have driven in Colorado Springs and Denver traffic. I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
So I think it will be at least a little bit better than what people have experienced.
At least you have multiple highways to choose from. In Colorado Springs, there's one major highway.
Yeah,
Got
that
a
is
couple
true.
of
We have a few different
ones,
access points.
yeah.
A big bulk will usually be coming south, kind of from that Fayetteville area, because a lot of people will live north of Huntsville. And
so
then
431 coming down.
Yep. So that will be kind of a big point. Coming from the west, like from the Madison area, it doesn't get too bad because they can either take, you got two kind of major parts that you can get into, but you also have a lot of back road, like side roads you can take if you want to hop off. The other spot that will get kind of backed up is to the east of Huntsville. You have Signal Mountain, and it's a one way. There's only one way in and one way out, basically. So if you live east of Huntsville, specifically on the other side of the mountain, which is where Owens Crossroads is.
Is this the mountain area?
Yes.
Or,
yeah. So that's the mountain, which has great hiking. That's like literally 10 minutes outside the city, which is great.
That's cool. That's nice.
And
so
you
people that are used to Colorado Springs, be able to like walk out to the mountains, can maybe get a little bit of that itch from having to move away from that. So
you guys might call it more of like a hill, but
yeah, it's a hill. Yeah.
But in the South, we call everything mountains. And then, I'm from California, so I had mountains, and I got out here and I'm like, you can call it a mountain, but it's not a mountain.
It's not really a mountain.
But there is good hiking, and you do have, even I was shocked by the views up there. It was pretty incredible, but you do have kind of that one major way in. So basically, if you're commuting between 7:39 in the morning and then like that 4 to 6 time frame, you'll kind of get backed up there as well.
Yeah. And we're talking the 72 and then the 431 as well, depending if you're north or south.
Yeah. But the one I will say, if you're stuck in traffic, come like on the east side where the mountain is, you at least have a pretty view you're staring at while you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah. I do not complain about when I'm driving west because it's just straight mountains the whole time.
Yeah. So I'm like, at least you can be on the phone with someone and at least have a good view. Whereas like if you're going north and south, it's flat. It's pretty flat.
Yeah, that's good to know. So hiking, I'm sure you got fishing. There's a lot of, obviously you've got
we have a lot of, you have access to the Tennessee River. Wheeler Lake is west of Huntsville. So, you can do, and we have a lot of tiny like creeks and rivers and stuff that don't even show up on maps. And then some of the subdivisions will actually have like community stocked ponds and like smaller lakes for like kids to fish in that are catch and release. We have within 30 minutes of the greater Huntsville area, you can go camping, hiking, fishing, boating, camp, you can really do
just about anything.
Yeah. I'd say outdoor wise, we probably have a lot of the similarities as Colorado Springs. We just don't have as beautiful as mountains. Which, less elevation might be better.
Yeah. You can breathe. You can actually breathe here.
Well,
I think I found where they're putting everything.
Get a little
Rocket
bit of
Park
in August will make it a little bit harder to breathe, but
right. Yeah. The humidity. That's actually a good point. Coming from Colorado where the altitude's high, you got always hydrating, you got to lotion all the time and everything like that. But you trade it off when you can breathe, but because I grew up in Georgia, like that humidity it's like walking outside into a wall. And so you do have to adjust for the humidity as well. You're going to want to stay in the AC. So actually, is AC common in the South? I knew the answer, but I think that's an important question because it's assumed it's normal in Colorado Springs, but not all homes, and they still build homes without AC, which boggles my mind. But I think that's important to know as well. Okay, like yes, you'll have AC in majority of the homes.
You always have AC, you always have heat. You get all 4 seasons, which I love. Our winters are not as brutal. You'll get we'll get enough. Usually it's like a week where we'll get like some snow, but it's enough that it covers the ground and looks pretty, and you can take your pictures, and then it kind of it's
Yeah.
gone.
You
So
got your reel
yeah.
for the day.
So
Um,
you're not having to worry about chains or anything like that. I
yeah,
mean, give it till 11 a.m. and it will warm up, and the snow will probably be
it'll
gone.
melt, right? And you guys are obviously northern out, so I'm just zooming out, just give people
Yes.
an idea of like how really north you guys. You guys are on almost the complete north center of Alabama.
Yeah. It's
Um,
almost a border town.
yeah, I would say so. And then some of the smaller towns, surrounding towns, like if people are looking at like a 30-minute to an hour commute, like can they start looking in some of these rural areas here, or is that still further
I
than an
would
hour?
say, like, if you're going west, Athens is usually about as far as people will go.
Okay.
Uh, and Athens is really a really quaint, cool town. It has like a square. They do a bunch of events. You have restaurants.
Oh, nice,
That's
fun.
where the new Bucky's just went in last year. Was
Uh-oh,
in Athens.
we got a Bucky's trying to come here too.
Yeah. So that's like everyone now like goes like down 65 till they hit Bucky's, and then they kind of like shoot over.
Hmm.
Um, and then parts of Athens are on Wheeler Lake, so people kind of like that too. And there's a lot of new construction out there, so you can get good deals on the new construction with the builder incentives. But that's about as far as people go if they want.
Yeah.
Like, and Athens, depending where you are, can be like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yep.
Um, and then if you go on the east side, typically on the east side, people will kind of stop at Owens Crossroads just because that is you have that with the mountain pass, it just is a
Hmm.
little bit more difficult, so you have to add time for that.
Yeah,
But
that
Owens
makes sense.
Crossroads is kind of your more like you can
Trying
sometimes
to
get
find
some
it.
places on like an acre or so if you want some more land. Like I know some of our friends in Colorado Springs, like they've got chickens and stuff, so that tends to be more of the popular spot uh,
Yeah,
if you're wanting kind of a more rural,
rural approach.
but there's
Yeah.
still like a Publix and like everything else there. So it's like you're not like in the country without anything.
Yeah.
But you get a little bit more space if you want some breathing room. Um,
That's nice.
yeah. And I will say, like, school ratings in Owens Crossroads the last couple of years have really started to come up too, just because a lot of more new construction and people moving out there because it's a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
And if people want like true rural living, that's when they'll go north of Huntsville to like Tony, Harvest, which are just like right up there, kind of a little bit to the west, northwest.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean right here.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of tell it's like I feel like on
Yeah,
the map it
that's
looks.
rural. Yeah.
But you can get
School.
a lot for your money in those
Yeah, I
towns.
imagine.
30 minutes to Huntsville or to work, which is great.
Yeah, if you're thinking long term, right, over the next 10, 20 years, it's going to start to grow. So
I mean,
your
there's
your property
already
is going to grow.
you drive
So
through those towns and you see like new community signs everywhere because there's just so much big parcels of land that developers can buy.
yeah,
And so when you see that, you just know like in 5 to 10 years, this is going to look
it's coming.
totally different.
Yeah, exactly. School, you talked about school districts. Is Huntsville, do they have a lot of different school districts, or how's the schooling system for families here?
Yeah. For public school, people will usually tend to kind of gravitate more towards Madison. But
Hmm.
there are a chunk of strong performing schools in Huntsville as well. Uh,
Okay.
so it's just, something to be mindful of. There are some smaller private school options as well if people want to do that. And then
Right.
you've had a few churches recently that have
Hmm.
just saw a need specifically on more of like preschool and elementary side of things, needing just more
Oh
space.
yeah.
And so we've had some local churches start some smaller, kind of like charter private school options for like
Hmm.
pre-K kindergarten as well.
Gotcha. So I just pulled up. So this is something I give my clients. It's called niche. I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you
Mhm.
are. But basically, I just say let's Huntsville because we don't always like to steer people, right? And we want to give value and information and let them, make a final decision. But you can see a lot of the school districts and things like that. So if you're curious about the school district, hop on niche. You can start looking at things, what they offer and everything like that. And I think the same goes for, safety. And I always tell people, hey, if you're not sure about a neighborhood, go look at the local police department.
Yep.
And you can find there's other resources as well for that information. But trying to think if there's anything else for now to be able to chat with. I mean, we've covered quite a bit for initial conversation. You anything to add that you think is valuable for relocating?
I would say if people haven't been to a duty station that's more in the South, like Fort Campbell, Redstone, or even more South, like Georgia, somewhere in one of the
Fort Benning.
Don't be shocked if everyone wants to talk to you. That's normal. They're not trying to get something from you, but you'll go to Target or you'll go to the grocery store and they'll be like, how are you? How's your day? And they actually want to know. They actually want to talk to you. And that's normal and it's okay. And some people move out here and they're like, whoa, this is
they're not used to the Southern hospitality. It's opening doors and yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And
we just had clients move from right outside Colorado Springs. They lived in that house for 4 years and they said they never hung out with or really knew their neighbors. And they lived in a massive subdivision.
Wow.
And they moved here and we see on their Instagram stories every day, all the families are out in the street and the kids are playing together. And we just had coffee with them last week and they're like, we're having a birthday party for our 5-year-old son and 40 kids are coming. And they're like, we wouldn't even have 40 kids to invite in our last neighborhood. They're like, how do we know this many people so fast? So, it can be a little overstimulating when you get here and you don't come from a place like that. But
that's a good point.
Just make sure to wave and say hi back. And,
they're not trying to steal your car. I mean, we be careful, keep your guard up, but that's awesome. And what I'll do is actually, do you want to provide your contact information and I can post it on here as well so people can reach out. Let's see. And what I'll do here, you can shoot. I'm just going to put my phone number here. I did that. I'm still getting used to StreamYard. It's still a little challenging. So that's my phone number. If cool. You guys, I can connect you with Axel. We can get you his contact information as well. At the end of the day, we want to make sure whoever's considering moving to Huntsville, whether it's for the Space Command move or otherwise, we want to make sure you're in good hands and you're getting to know, some of the people that we like to interact with in terms of other agents. We want to make sure that you're getting someone who's going to take care of you at the end of the day. And that's why I really love connecting with Matt and you and that other, I've got a couple of the agents that I met with through American Dream TV, and they've been nothing but amazing. And those are the agents, if you're questioning your agent and you're not sure, you're lacking information, that is a red flag. Ask questions, ask those hard questions. So we'll be more than happy to help you with the relocation. And I think something we need to do, I'm going to put it out there so that we actually do it. It's live. We're going to create a guide moving from to and from Colorado Springs to Huntsville area. Yep. So you can compare and contrast the two cities. You can know what to expect in both cities, things like that. So I just tag myself for starting to create that, but I think that'll be good value. So if you want that guide, drop a comment in one of the platforms that you're seeing this, shoot me a message, or we can connect you with Axel and the crew and make sure you're taken care of. So any last parting words? I did want to keep this so much short, but feel free to drop any other.
I don't think so.
Knowledge bombs.
We're excited, despite some feelings that I know some people aren't thrilled. We're very excited to welcome everybody. And,
yes,
hopefully we can make this an easy transition so you don't feel like it's a headache.
It's a bittersweet, for some, it is a bittersweet move.
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot of pros to consider moving to Huntsville. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of family stuff. We can work on if you have to actually sell versus renting out your property here. We can work together and strategize on the best approach and things like that. So thank you guys for watching. If you are watching in, and if you need anything, let us know, and have a wonderful day. I am going to stop the stream and then we can stay on for a second. Let's see. There's always that weird pause at the end. Am I doing this right? No.
It's still
Here we
showing.
go. All right. I pressed the right button.